students, welcome to SST So Simple tutorial. So far we have read the classification of economy on the basis of nature of work as primary, secondary and tertiary. We also read about the gross domestic product, that is GDP. Today we will discuss the total production and employment in the three sectors in our country. Students, why is it necessary to know the share of each sector of the economy in the growth of employment and GDP? Such informations are helpful for future planning purposes. Increase in employment in the economy is the key to the development. High employment contributes to the growth of GDP and decreases the level of poverty in the economy. India has a huge population which can be utilized for productive purposes only when there is enough growth of employment and GDP in the economy. So let us start the lesson. All of you come to page number 24, primary, secondary and tertiary sectors in India. Look at the graph. This is graph 1, GDP by primary, secondary and tertiary sectors. Here we can see the production of goods and services in the three sectors. The three sectors are shown in blue, brown and green colors respectively. Here the data of 2 years 1973-1974 and 2013-2014 are given. Let us first read the data in 1973-74. It is evident from the height of the tower that primary sector is the largest producing sector. Then comes the tertiary and then the secondary sector. If you try to read more accurately, the production of primary sector will be around rupees 3 lakh crore. The secondary sector looks like rupees 1.5 lakh crore and the tertiary sector around rupees 2 lakh crore. So we can say that the largest producing sector in 1973-74 is primary, followed by tertiary and then secondary. Then what is the GDP in 1973-74? This can be read directly from the graph. It is rupees 650,000 crore or rupees 6.5 lakh crore. I hope there is no doubt up till here. Let us now see the data of 2013-14. It is clearly visible from the height of the tertiary sector tower that it produces the most. If you try to read the sectors individually, the GDP of primary is approximately 9.5 lakh crore rupees. If you read the secondary sector, the GDP is around 13.5 lakh crore and that of tertiary is approximately 35 lakh crore. So the largest producer in 2013-14 is tertiary sector, followed by secondary and primary sector. The GDP of the country has also gone up to about rupees 58 lakh crore. So what do we conclude? 1. There is growth seen in all the three sectors. Primary has also grown, secondary has also grown and tertiary has also grown, but tertiary sector has grown the most. 2. In 1973-1974, primary sector is the largest sector, but in 2013-14, tertiary sector is the largest producer. Let us now see graph 3. It shows the share of sectors in employment in 1977-78 and 2017-18. Here we can see that primary sector, which was the largest employer in 1977-78, see 71%. It has declined thereafter, yet it continues to be the largest employer even now, see 44%. So what is noteworthy here is that whereas the production of secondary and tertiary sector both increased many times, employment did not rise in the same proportion. Actually, enough jobs were not created in the secondary and tertiary sectors. As a result, approximately half of the workers in our country are working in the primary sector, mainly in agriculture, producing only 1/6 of the GDP. In contrast, the secondary and tertiary sectors produce 5/6 of the GDP but employ together the rest half of the people. So what is the conclusion? Conclusion number 1. Tertiary sector is the largest producer in our country, hence largest contributor to the GDP. 2. Even though primary sector produces only 1/6 of the GDP, it is the largest employer in our country. Approximately half of the people work in this sector. Now, some of you may think, more people, less output. How is this possible? Students, do you remember disguised unemployment that we read in class 9? Yes, that means you have understood. That means there are more people in agriculture than is necessary. Let us brush up disguised unemployment once again. Disguised unemployment occurs when more people are employed for the same work than what are actually required. When some of them are removed, the output will not reduce. For example, a family of a small farmer in a rural area works throughout the year in the field, even though all of them are not required all the time. In your textbook, it is explained with the example of a small farmer named Lakshmi. You can read the story. So, disguised unemployment is the situation when some people are underemployed. They only divide the labor effort without any significant contribution to the growth of the sector. If some members of the family work somewhere else, they would be able to earn some extra income, and thus the earning of the family would increase. So just think, there are lakhs of farmers like Lakshmi in India. If we remove a lot of people from agriculture sector and provide them with work elsewhere, agricultural production will not suffer. Instead, the incomes of the people who take up other works would increase the income of the total family. I hope you have understood the theme properly. Students, this can happen in other sectors also. All members of a family in an urban area, for example, work in a shop owned by them, even though all may not be required for the whole day. You may find people pushing cart or a rickshawala or someone selling something where they spend the whole day but earn very little. So let us recap the main points. Number 1. Tertiary sector is the largest producing sector in our country today. It is the primary sector which is the largest employer. Number 3. Workers in the agricultural sector are disguisedly unemployed. With this, we finish the topic planned for today. In the next class, we will read about tertiary sector, why it is becoming so important in India. We will also read how to create more employment. Till then, keep reading and have a nice time. Thank you.